Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I have the co-founders of Lemon Fresh Cleaners, Kianna and Shane Binger. But first, I want to reintroduce my guest co-host today, my dear friend, mentor, the man who helped me franchise my business many years ago, Mark Siebert, the founder of the iFranchise Group. Mark, thanks for coming along and playing with me today.
Thanks for having me, Frank. I have a great time with these.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have a great one. We've got a really great episode today. We've got Kianna and Shane. They've got a unique approach to house cleaning, and we know there's been no shortage of cleaning franchises over the years that have been really, really successful. But I think they have a unique angle, and isn't that one of the objectives for you? Is when you're franchising people, that what are they doing that are truly different from other brands that are out there?
Yeah, I think that's the key to success in any business. You have to differentiate yourself from your competitors. So that's real important.
Before we bring on today's guest, here are the three things you'll learn from today's show. Number one, how these founders realize what business they're really in, and it's not cleaning. Secondly, why they tested over 250 products before developing their own private label with a chemist. And finally, why their motto for the ideal franchisee is be a golden retriever. Without further ado, let's introduce Kianna and Shane to the show. Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
It's great having you on. All right, well, Kianna, Shane, tell me about Lemon Fresh Cleaners. I kind of want to hear the genesis of how this whole thing started. So why did you start this brand and what were you doing beforehand?
Yeah, we come from a corporate background, so we're kind of corporate refugees in that we got to a point where we needed help ourselves with the house cleaning, just couldn't stay on top of things, but life gets busy. And so we have our own health journeys that we've always tried to keep natural products and keeping clean things in our home. And so the home cleaning, when we're looking for someone to come help us out, first, we couldn't find anyone that would just pick up their phone and was willing to work with us. And second, we really couldn't find anyone in a natural space either. So we took that as an opportunity of this might be something that we'd be able to take on ourselves and fill a hole in the market.
Wow. So, I mean, that's kind of taking the bull by the horns. I mean, you're not happy with, you can't find cleaners. So like, you know what, screw it. We're corporate refugees. This is it. We're going to start a business and we're just going to launch this thing. Was that exactly how it went?
More or less, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of long stories along the way, but more or less, we saw an opportunity to work for ourselves. We really wanted to have that. We felt passionate about having something for ourselves. We were putting in a lot of hours for other people, and we just felt that if we could do this ourselves, we could have a better life and also build something that's cool that we could be proud of. And so, yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs along the way, but that's the short way to get to the long answer.
Well, we're going to get to the ups and downs for sure, because that's the part of this story that I love to hear more about. But going back to the beginning, so you're in Rapid City, South Dakota. You're starting this brand in 2022. We're just kind of coming out of COVID. What were things like when you first started the business? Did you hit the ground running? Did we hit some bumps along the road? I mean, this was your first venture, right? As entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't know the cleaning industry very well. And so we hired a mentor originally to teach us the things that we didn't know. Hiring was one of the hardest things. We found a couple of really great girls to come on part-time, and we had a really good response right away where we filled their schedules. And then it was like, oh no, now what?
Yeah. And so we took a lot of learning along the way. I mean, it coming from the corporate background, cleaning houses seems really simple from the outset.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, oh, this will be no issue. We can figure this out. Like we were doing harder things before. but we didn't give enough credit of how unique the industry was and how much there was to learn in each industry. And so, all the way from what products to use to how to actually do the process, the best way to invoice and quote. There's a lot of changes along the way as we learned. We were just trying to do things the best. We always said that we wanted feedback from our customers and we want feedback from our employees, because at the end of the day, it doesn't need to be our way. It just needs to be the best way. And we hold that till today with our franchisees and with our employees now and customers still today. One of the messages is always, we're transparent. We want feedback because we know there's better ways to be constantly doing things. We want to evolve and we want to improve. And so it's kind of, you kind of sit back and laugh from where we started to where we're at today about how bad we were at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all not great. Unfortunately, it takes time and we all get our licks, so to speak, in business. So it sounds like to me really two things that you really wanted to hone in on is, number one, first and foremost, is you really wanted to be in the business of all natural cleaning products. That was super key to you, of course. And, and then on the flip side, also providing a great service. Mm-hmm. Now, the natural cleaning products is something, of course, that anybody could replicate, right? Anybody can go out and do this, but I'm curious, though, on that side of it, ultimately, how did you decide on which products were best for you? Because this is sort of the foundation of the business, is making sure that you want something that was safe for people, that you can be proud of, that you're representing. And I'd like to kind of hear how you discovered what you ultimately landed on.
Yeah, that's a great question. The natural products were so important to us just because, I've got some thyroid issues that have always been a problem. So cleaning up our lifestyle was really a no-brainer for us. And I knew that I didn't want to be on the cleans myself, dealing with bleach and all of these really heavy toxic cleaners. So we went for the natural approach. And I think today we've tested something like 250 different products.
Oh, no kidding.
We found ones that actually work. And now we're working with a chemist to develop our own product line. But one of my favorite tools is actually our steamers. So it's this tool that, it kind of almost looks like a squirt gun, a heavy duty, like blast your little brother squirt gun. And they heat to 230 degrees, so you don't have to use any product at all with them, no chemicals, no scents, and they actually disinfect for you. They're super cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
And since we got started, we've learned so much about reading labels, being able to know what's in them that actually is leading towards the bad effects. And so we've gotten to the point that we can really get a good feel from just looking at a label of, okay, I think this is something that we're going to like, or looking at it, it's like, oh, no, I've recognized that's not going to work for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
So on the private label side, you said have you already started doing the private labeling?
Yeah. So, there's a couple different options that you can go. You can do the white labeling path. We really wanted to work with a chemist and develop our own line by saying, here are 5 products that we love. Here's what we love about them. Now let's go make our own formula.
Yeah. So we're using high quality products now. We really enjoy the ones that we do, but I think they can be better. I don't think anyone's captured that market yet. As a whole, I think it's pretty fragmented. I think a lot of people are trying, there's some big names that most people would be familiar with, Method, Mrs. Myers, some of those names that are on most of your department store shelves, but there's an opportunity to do it better. And there's an opportunity to give better education around it. And then from a business standpoint, obviously we need the products for our cleaning business and for the franchisees. And so that can lower some of the costs on our end. And we also see that as a way to maybe sell directly while we're in the homes as another revenue stream for franchisees, for cleaners. We can have that education and we can have that conversation about this is why it's important and be able to be a little more direct with those sorts of things, make an impact beyond just sitting on a Walmart shelf.
Timing is everything. And I just feel like the time at which you guys started was impeccable because we're coming out of COVID. Everybody, of course, is worried about getting sick. And here you come in with cleaning products that are all natural, that are going to disinfect. And at the same time, you've got a great business that, that people need the service. And I just feel like it was kind of the perfect storm, so to speak, when you started this.
Yeah, we got lucky. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more than we just got lucky. I'd like to say that we had this all thought out and this kind of green health renaissance would start. We really just kind of, from our interests and our, out of necessity, trying to feel better, got started down this path. And luckily more people are latching on to it. And it's cool to see maybe some people that weren't interested in it a few years ago about the natural products when we started this, maybe kind of scoffed at it or didn't fully understand it, to now they're like, hey, what products are you using? Like, I need to switch this up in my house. I can see it in my own parents. They're almost to their 70s. And I can see their journey and their understanding of it changing. So it's been a lot of fun to be on the cutting edge of that.
Well, there's a lot of companies, a lot of franchise companies that have started they used franchising to build the brand. So if you look at companies like Haagen-Dazs, they started with a lot of franchises. They built the brand and then they got the grocery store distribution. Or Taco Bell with the Taco Bell hot sauce that they sell. And it turns into a really substantial line of business for them. So it can be a whole new thing, but the franchise allows you to build the brand and at the same time sort of spread the word with some dedicated customers who are also going to be evangelizing for you.
Yeah, we see each one helping the other. Our product line will help franchise sales and on the franchisee sales and vice versa. Also, we built this brand around being very high quality and kind of a luxury brand. And because of that, we want to hire a better high-end employee. So the people that we have in our location, I mean, there's master's degrees, there's a lot of relevant experience where they've wanted to exit the office also and kind of feel the impact that they're giving to the families. And so one of the visions we have is how do we give those employees more? And so if it's a sales opportunity within the home that they can use some of those skills that they might otherwise use in an office job while they're helping impact families on the local level, we just want to give our franchisees and employees the ability to have the best life possible. And I think having that direct sales is another component to it.
Yeah, and I think that's something we have to talk about, that, in the cleaning industry, you can only get a home so clean. So we don't ever advertise like we can clean better than everyone else because it's either clean or it's not clean. So we really lean into the service side, making this almost a lifestyle brand that happens to clean because our culture is so developed.
Yeah, it's really important to us. The one thing that we look for, if you have cleaning experience or not, is kind of secondary. The thing that we look for at our franchisees and our employees is a heart for helping and someone that gets energy from helping people and seeing the reactions from helping moms. And so that's the biggest priority that we look for in these people that we're bringing to join us.
Yeah, non-judgmental, just loving to give, loving to serve.
We just had a meeting a couple days ago with our employees in Rapid City here about the book Unreasonable Hospitality. And that's the restaurant world where it was 11 Madison Park. And they really wanted to focus on how do we give hospitality and service where people can't stop talking about it. And so we had the conversation with our group like, hey, we do a great job, but how do we do it even better? I want to double and triple down on these feelings that we're invoking in moms in the home every day and really push that. And how do we make them where they can't stop talking about us? So it's not the cleaning so much as it's like making people feel seen and taking the stress off their shoulders so that they can spend time on what they want to. Maybe it's their kids, maybe it's their hobbies, maybe it's their work, whatever it is, we're just there to help.
You guys are wise beyond your years. Mark, they're not in the cleaning business. They realize they're in the feel-good business. I mean, come on.
Remind me of Shelley's son over at Bright Star. You know Shelley? But she started her business for the same reason. She couldn't so it's a senior care franchise. But she started it because she couldn't get good people to do what she wanted. She wanted a premier experience. And it was really about finding the right people. And it was really about culture and finding the right people and the right fit. And that's what allowed her to build her brand. She's got a great book out, but she'd be a great mentor for you guys if you ever joined IFA and met her. She's a great person.
And by the way, she only sold her company for about $750 million too, by the way.
Yeah, not bad. Not too bad.
Who wants that?
It was a side benefit.
Yeah,
that was. But it's purpose first. It's understanding your why. Evidently, you get it. I'm super impressed. You guys have only been around a few years in doing this. So you start at Lemon Fresh, and I will get to franchising because obviously it's an important part of your story and the opportunity. Ultimately, what led you, though, to franchising the business? Because you could have just kept opening company-owned locations and maybe like you're doing your private label in this product. But ultimately, what sparked the franchise side of it?
Is multifaceted. When we started, we had no plans going past Rapid City. But soon after we started, we had people reaching out from different towns that we had family and friends. And they said, we need Lemon Fresh here. There's, when are you coming to Aberdeen? When are you coming to Sioux Falls? How can you expand? And so we started going down that path and kind of looking at the different ways. And there's kind of two big reasons that we decided to go the franchise route. One was you need to have that local presence of someone that cares, someone that's going to sweat, bleed, and cry with the location every day. And we knew we needed that because we knew that's what it took here. And the second was we felt so lucky to be self-employed. We did not take that for granted. And every day we kind of looked at each other and said, I can't believe we're doing this. This is amazing. And we wanted to give that feeling to other people. So since we needed to have someone that really cared in the location, and because we knew that we learned quite a few things from all the mistakes we made and how much we could batch in the back office, we could help other people reach the self-employment and feel that and get to spend more time with their kids and have that ownership. And it's been so much fun to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Shane, I'm not going to let you off the hook. Early on, you talked about the ups and downs. So I want to hear about something, maybe an ugly thing. It was a mistake. It was an issue. It was something when you first started that if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I think we've made every mistake that you can make and learn from it.
Go.
The one good story I have that I always tell is shortly after we started, we cleaned a very nice person's house, and we just had a couple cleaners at that point. And we had done that clean that day, and we were getting ready for bed. It was probably 10:30 at night, I think. And I got a text from that client and said, hey, did your gals happen to see my wife's retainer? It was sitting on our nightstand, and we can't find it now, getting ready for bed.
And he said that it was crumpled up into a Kleenex, kind of like she just had it sitting inside a Kleenex. And so you instantly know your cleaner probably took it and thought it was trash. And so we were living at an apartment building.
Yeah, we were in an apartment building with, community dumpsters, and we keep all the trash. And so we knew, we were like, all right, I think I know what happened. And we were desperate at that. He's like, we will do anything for a customer at that point.
You've only been in business for a few months to get a good review here.
Yes.
And we're bonded and insured. Like present day, we might let our bond cover it, but no one is as eager to please as a new business owner.
And so we got the pictures still at 10:30 at night. We're dumpster diving. And that clean was done in the morning, threw the bags in there. Other trash had been put on top. And so luckily we had pink bags, so we knew which ones we were looking for. And so after dumpster diving, we'd throw them out, we'd tear them apart on the ground. And
we're both gagging.
And looking for a Kleenex that had, and we found it, and we got it delivered back to the house that night.
Got it cleaned up.
Got it cleaned up and got it back to the people that night. So that was, the flashy story. But
I love you guys. I love it. I love it.
Lesson learned.
It was a lesson learned. It was a very much lesson learned. We trained on that the next day so that we didn't have to go through that again. But outside of that, just from the business standpoint, I mean, we've dealt with so many things and learned from them. I mean, from how we systemize our business. We didn't have any systems at the start. It was all just communicating verbally. It was, trying to remember things off the top of our head, not writing it down. And now if it's not written, it's not real. Everything's got to go on paper, and we can't work off our memory and from conversations that we're having. And so we've learned how to kind of work through those things as we've gone.
Yeah, all these problems are gifts.
Yes.
Every one of these problems are gifts because as you start franchising and get larger and larger, things like this are going to happen. And now you can head it off at the pass, right? Because you get somebody like Mark, Mark and his team did my operations manual. Unless I had problems on my own, I wouldn't have been able to communicate to Mark when we're developing the operations manual on exactly what to do unless there was issues, right?
Well, the problems are what the franchisee are paying for, right? They want to know that you've overcome them already. They don't want somebody brand new to the business. They'd rather know that you've failed and you've overcome the problems, and that's the intellectual property that they're getting.
And that's one lesson we've learned in the franchising is that the franchise is a whole separate business than our cleaning business. Like it's a whole nother venture that we have to learn and we have to systemize and we have to write things down. And it's a whole nother process of operation manuals, systems, SOPs that we've now learned that we have to develop all over again. So been very unique and something I didn't see coming.
You guys are wise beyond your years to realize that the franchise business is separate from cleaning. That's really good. That's really good. It takes a few years usually to figure that out.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We've again, starting the franchise, we dove into a mentorship group, and that's been a big leap for us from a franchise point of view. So we have a franchise mentor that's kind of taught us along that way. That's been a huge help.
That's awesome. How did you guys have what, 3 franchise locations, right? South Dakota, Minnesota, and Utah. How did you find these franchisees? Because obviously you're spread across 3 states.
No, this was just a blessing for our business. We had this magazine feature a few years back that people just found us through that organically. So we haven't actually advertised the opportunity, and it's just kind of, the doors have opened at the right time.
Yeah, and it feels like it's one of those things that was supposed to happen. We got a few, and they're great individuals. They're perfect in what we're looking for. And then that's give us an opportunity to learn a bunch from having those first ones, and so that we can be better with the next ones. And they took a risk with us. The first few are buying into you more than they are anything else. And so they've been great partners in giving us that feedback on what they need from a franchise partner so that we can be better as we go forward and learn a lot of those lessons.
And are you guys looking to get more aggressive in the next couple of years? Sell some more?
Yeah, I think so. Right now, so we still own the Rapid City location. And so I want to grow this thing as big as we can get it, just to show that it can be done, learn, whatever we need to level up to that next space, and take on some more locations on the way. So we'd both really like to get to 100 locations eventually, but it has to be with the right people.
It's got to be with the right people. It's got to be at the right time. And more than anything, we want our franchisees to succeed. And be happy more than anything. Success doesn't always look like the biggest number on the page. It's individual to each person. You can see that in the 3 franchisees we have right now. Some are looking to maximize. Others, I get to be my own boss and spend more time with my kids. And working on pulling my husband into the business so we can work together. And so it's individualized to each one. And at the end of the day, we just want whatever their goals are to be met.
So how aggressively are you looking to grow? Are you looking to get to 105 years or sooner?
Yeah, I mean...
What's funny is if you would have asked me a question 3 years ago about where we'd be right now, I would not tell you we'd be right here. And so I'd like to tell you that we have this grand plan of we're going to meet 100 in 3 years or be on this fast track. I have no clue. And it usually turns out to be better than I could ever hope for. And so we are on the roll for the ride. And if we had 100 people reach out that were perfect, we'd figure it out and we'd make it work. And we'd be super excited. And if it goes slower, we're excited too. We just kind of love what we do.
Sure. We've got to make sure, of course, we're picking the right franchisees, especially, Mark, you taught me this many, many years ago. The first dozen franchisees make or break the culture, right?
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So what would you say guys, what do you think is the right attributes you need to be a franchisee, to be really successful in your system?
Yeah, one of our core values is be a golden retriever. And what we mean by that is, be upbeat, be energetic, be eager to please your client. That's one of the biggest things, just being a people person.
Absolutely. They got to match our culture because they're going to be driving that to their employees. And so we need them to match that. One of the things we talk a lot about is we're coming into the home and we can either give energy to that home or we can take energy from that home, depending on how we come in and the tone we set. And so the number one thing is we want to be energy givers. We want people to be excited that we're coming in, and we want to leave that home not only cleaner, but also more excited, this energy that you can just feel by walking into a room. And that's got to come from the top. It's got to come from us, and it's got to come from our franchisees. And so that's the number one thing.
So I had a client, Nothing Bundt Cakes, that they used to, what they would do, Debbie Schwetz, who was the owner of the company, one of the co-founders, they used to make their franchisees, they'd say, sing a song. And people would have to just come up with a song and start singing in the middle of an interview. So how do you figure out whether somebody's going to be upbeat and they're going to be, and they're going to have that same kind of energy that you're looking for? Is it just from the interviews or any
That's a really
tricks
good
that try when
question.
it comes to that?
A little bit. I mean, part of it, we are always looking for them to say that they just care about helping people. That's always a pretty good sign that they're not going to burn out, because you have to have some reason for being in this industry. Otherwise, it's just cleaning.
Yeah, we try to spend a lot of time with them, a lot of conversations, and honestly try to sell them out of the cleaning industry.
Yeah.
Tell them all the bad days that they're going to have and see how they respond. And let them know, this cleaning isn't a glamorous business. And so there's got to be something more to it than just, I like cleaning. that's going to last about a couple months.
Yeah.
It's got to be something past that. And so it's really getting to know them on that personal level. But I like the singing idea. I might have to bring that in now.
I don't think it's patented. So
Okay. So Kai, after a couple of hundred episodes that I've done with founders, I'm yet to hear anybody say they're looking for golden retrievers. Yet I know we all know exactly what you're talking about. That is great. That is great. What's the investment range to open a franchise, and how big is the territory?
Yeah, this is Shane's baby, the item 19. I'll let you lead that.
So we are going through a renewal right now. So this investment range might increase, but right now we're about from like 40 to 60,000. And then a territory range, it really depends individualized, but we want at least 75,000 people. That's what's stated in our FDD. But we've looked at kind of mid-size and smaller size markets. We come from a mid and smaller size market, so we understand the need that are in those. And so that's where we feel like we kind of have a niche right now. And that's where we give a little more flexibility depending on where that's located at.
And I would say that's the most important in the mid-sized market, the level of personal touch and personal service. We're not a huge city here in Rapid City. Mm-hmm. Your name really means a lot here. So that's kind of what we go after.
Yeah, it's just where we grew up. We both grew up in very small towns and now live in I'd call mid-sized market, around 120,000 in a metro area. And so we like being in that area.
But, besides the all natural cleaning products, I'm curious to know, what are some of the trends you're seeing in the industry? Because when I was on your website, I noticed besides house cleaning commercial, I did notice there was a section on Airbnb cleans as well. My wife and I own an Airbnb that, obviously it's important that the home is absolutely impeccably clean.
Yes.
And our goal is every time a guest shows up, we want them to question, are we the first people to ever rent this home? That's my wife's objective for every guest. So I'm curious how Airbnb plays a role into the trends you're seeing, and if that's changed since obviously the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's definitely increased. It's not something we do a lot of. We give the flexibility to all of our locations that they can run their business however they like. So between commercial, residential, and Airbnb, it's up to them. To be frank, no pun intended, to be frank, we don't do a lot of it. We fit, and our people, I think, fit more with the residential piece of being in the homes, interacting with the moms and the kids and feeling that impact. Where we take a luxury look at it, we're usually the highest charging cleaning company in our market, no matter where we're at. We're always at the top. And so that doesn't always fit with another person that's running a business and needing that bottom line to work out. And we understand that. We're always welcome to have that conversation on Airbnb cleaning, things like that. But I usually start it by saying, hey, we're probably going to be priced at the top of the market. I'm sure you're going with or looking at other people also. We'd love to work with you if there's a fit, but we understand that we're bringing something different maybe than works for you.
Sure. I'm going to venture to say, as you continue to expand out your business and you go into some really high-end vacation rental areas, that using your cleaning products is actually a huge benefit that I would promote on my actual listing, because we get high-end clients that rent our home. And there's a lot of people like me that have those kind of homes where you want to impress clients and you want them, you want to make the part of your advertisement that you're using all natural cleaning products. And in addition to making sure the home is clean, it's what's being used. So
yeah, that's a great point.
Be on the lookout as you continue to expand out in those franchise territories. Mark, you had a question?
Yeah. It's sort of off the wall question, but have you guys started using AI at all to either to start looking at who your customer base is, or to figure out how to estimate, or how's AI impacting you guys at all?
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the things that we tried to hop on early. We heard of it for the first time and thought, oh man, this is going to take over the world. And so we thought we would get on the AI train. We do have a chatbot on our website. We implement it with our quoting. And yeah, even with things like identifying the next markets that we want to go into, I'd say AI is very helpful.
Yeah, we're trying to use it as much as we can in any way. There's a lot of administrative and back-end work that needs to be done in any cleaning business. And so that seems like some low-hanging fruit that we're really looking at to help with just repeatable tasks and things to take the weight off of a business owner or the franchisee so that they don't spend their day looking at a computer all the time, but more impacting the employees and the customers, and where an AI really can't. You need that face-to-face personal interaction. So we want to lift that administrative burden as much as possible so that they can just focus on the people. In the future, I do see it becoming more of an impact with our quoting, booking, route optimization, scheduling, pretty much any place that we can put it, just trying to do that prudently.
And the nice thing with the cleaning industry, I think, is that if AI does take over the world and, takes over everybody's jobs, you're still going to need an in-person house cleaner.
Yeah. I'm not going to say we're AI proof, because who knows what's going to come in the next.
AI proof.
If I call it AI resistant, because I'm like, I can't define everything for sure, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be one of the last. And so we feel good about going into this world this way.
Well, you may be a generation away from this, but there will be a time where a fleet of Optimus robots are going to get out of a vehicle and walk into the home and clean it. We all know that, but it's going to probably be a while because not many of us are going to be comfortable with a bunch of robots walking around our home, but it's coming.
And what I figure is, why don't we be just the first ones with robots then? We'll be the company that brings the robots to you then.
The Lemon Fresh cleaning logo right on the Optimus robot chest. I mean, you could see the car pulling up. They all get out.
There's all sorts of things we could do with like scents. And I mean, you could get really funky with it.
Well, let's mark this down on this episode here in 2025 that we're saying Optimus robots are going to be a thing in cleaning. We know it's going to be eventual, but it may not be tomorrow.
It's great working with entrepreneurs, Frank, because you always come up with the best ideas.
Well, guys, tell us, why is now a great time to join your franchise brand?
I mean, to me, the health thing is just growing. It's undeniable at this point. I don't think it's a generational thing. I don't think it's a trend. I think it's set in for the long term. And the other trend that I see setting in for the long term is people are becoming more protective of their time. They are willing to outsource more than my parents were in their day and age, whether that's for, like outwards appearances. It's not becoming as looked down upon. And also people are more protective. Like, I want to spend more time doing my hobbies. My kids are in more things. And so I think the house cleaning world is going to grow, and I think it's going to grow in a natural direction. And so I'm glad we're on the front of that.
Yeah, I think consumers are getting more conscious about the decisions we're making. We're coming out with studies like we're exposed to more toxins every day than our grandparents were in an entire year. And so I think with that, the cleaning products in your home, that's the easiest place that you can make a productive change.
Yeah. Guys, I don't say this every day on every episode by any means if you watched it, but Mark, I would say these two are one of the most sharpest co-founders I have met that have learned so much in such a short period of time. There's so many little nuggets of lessons that they've shared and things they've learned and understanding really what the business that they're in. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You guys have really done a great job.
I appreciate that. It's nice. We're laughing. Business ownership's hard, and franchise ownership is hard. And it's comments like that. It's a text from a customer. It's a little thing you see that keeps you going some days. So I appreciate that. And that won't go unnoticed and talked about in the future. So guys, thank you.
The beauty of why business is hard is it keeps competition at bay, because people are afraid to get into business. They're afraid to franchise their company. And so that's why I love the challenge of business, is that if it was so easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah. And one thing we've recognized, we were lucky doing this together, that we had a team. We had someone to lean on that really understood what we were going through. I didn't fully understand it until we got into it. Like, other people don't get it the same way. Other people aren't understanding it, like the business ownership. And you can't have that same conversation as you can with someone in the industry. So we were lucky. We didn't even realize we had that when we started off. But now as we start the franchise deal and we're working with other individuals that maybe the spouse isn't in the business, there's times when we'll talk to a franchisee for a couple hours. And at the end of it, they go, well, thanks for the therapy session. And it's not that we solved any problems, but we just heard them and we were there to lean on. It's like, yeah, I know this sucks, or that's a hard part of the business. And just someone to like bounce ideas off and be there for has been a huge part of our journey and something we really enjoy with the franchisees also.
Shane, it's time to address the situation with your company. You know what I'm talking about. Kai, I understand that you guys are pretty much an all female owned and operated business with the exception of Shane. So Shane, how does that feel?
You know, every night I go home and I chop logs and lift weights and drink protein shakes or do whatever I can to promote my masculinity, because otherwise it's like I'm around a lot of ladies every day. So that's always my joke with my employees and Kai and stuff is I got to go home and chop logs or something just to get my masculinity in. But no, it's awesome. It's been a lot of fun being able, and it's cool to be female owned and operated, because what is it, like an 88% of house cleaners in America or across the industry are women. And so we felt strongly that it just made sense to have the leadership be female owned. So I'm mostly in the background. Kai's the pretty face on the front of it, and I'm happy with that because it is important.
And Shane is so sweet with our Rapid City team. You know, they'll be coming in at the end of the day and he'll be like, all right, I got to go. My girls are going to be headed in soon. So he's just a proud dad with them.
Oh, that's great. Well, Mark, I know you could attest to this because you franchise so many companies, but the influx of female-owned franchise founders is astounding. I'm so impressed, and I'm impressed with the founders themselves, but this is such a great thing for franchising, and it's so much more balanced than it was when I started 20 some odd years ago. Mark, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's absolutely for sure. You know, I mean, I wasn't trying to think of names of female founders, but I think I gave a couple examples today, and both of them were female founders. So it is becoming a lot more prevalent in the industry. It's I think it's still male dominated a little bit, but it's not like it was when I was getting into the business some years ago.
Yeah, there's a shift for sure. I'm going to come out right now and say my apologies for folks from my past company that may be watching or listening to this. But Shane, I got to tell you, the female staff was superior than the male staff, pound for pound, if I had to balance it out. So I think you might be in really good company.
Yeah, I believe it. I was just going to say there's this female intuition thing that I'm still figuring out.
Absolutely.
I've learned to trust it, especially with my wife. She might not have the reasoning behind a decision, but it's just like, all right, no, I trust you. Just go. And it always turns out in our favor. So there's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
That one out, you franchise that.
Exactly. Shane, man, I've been married 30 years, and the secret is she's always right. That's it.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. I think that was a common trope that I thought of, like going into the industry or in the marriage. It's like, they're always right, whatever. No, they are always right. Like, just listen. Just listen.
Oh, that's great. Well, guys, this was great having you on the show. I'd love for you to please share if someone was interested in learning more about the franchise opportunity, where would they go?
Lemonfresh.us. You can visit our website or, our phone number's everywhere. Feel free to just give us a call.
Socials at Lemonfresh Cleaners.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Lemonfresh.us. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to keep my eyes on you guys. I think you've got a hell of a runway. And I'm excited to see the future growth of your company. And Mark, thanks again for co-hosting. It was great seeing you again.
And it was great meeting you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, that's a wrap on 2025. We'll be back January 5th, 2026 for season 4 of the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.